The queen's insult echoed across the hall. The crystal throne hall of the Zevran Empire was famous across the galaxy. Its walls shined like blue ice, and tall diamond pillars touched the high ceiling. Thousands of alien nobles filled the hall wearing golden robes, silver armor, and long glowing capes. Today was an important day. A new ambassador from Earth had been invited. It was the first time a human ever stood in front of the Zevran Queen. Commander. Elias Ward walked slowly toward the center of the hall. His steps were calm, his face serious. He was tall, dressed in a dark uniform with a silver Earth emblem on his chest. But around him, whispers started like a wave. Is that the human? He looks too young. No muscle, no power. Why did the Queen call him here? For many aliens, humans were still a small, weak species. The Zevran Empire ruled more than 40 star systems. They were proud, strict, and believed in showing respect through kneeling, silence, and fear. Humans did not follow those traditions. And today, that was a problem. On the throne, Queen Lysera watched Elias. She was 26 years old, but already one of the most powerful rulers in the galaxy. Her purple royal armor shined, and her silver crown floated slightly above her head due to zero-gravity crystals. Her eyes were bright gold, sharp and cold. She raised her hand. The hall became silent. "Human," she said, her voice echoing, "you stand before the Zevran crown. Kneel." Elias did not move. The nobles gasped. Kneeling was required? Even powerful generals kneeled. Elias simply stood straight, his hands behind his back, as if her order meant nothing. Queen Lysera leaned forward. "Perhaps you did not hear me. Kneel now." Elias looked at her, not angry, not scared, just calm. "Human ambassadors do not kneel," he said softly. "Not to anyone." The hall erupted in laughter. A noble shouted, "Earth has no power here." Another added, "Your planet is small. You must kneel." Someone else yelled, "Teach the human manners." But Elias remained still. His eyes did not change. His heartbeat did not rise. He looked like a man who had seen war before, and insults meant nothing to him. Queen Lysera stood up from her throne. "Human, this is an order from your superior. Kneel, or you insult the crown." This time, Elias slowly turned his head, as if studying the queen. His eyes showed no fear, no respect, nothing. Only silence. Then he turned around and began walking away. Just like that. No words. No bow. No sign of fear. The entire hall froze. No one had ever walked away from the queen. No one had ever turned their back on the throne. Alien nobles dropped their cups. Warriors reached for their weapons. Someone screamed, "Stop him!" Guards stepped forward, but suddenly froze. Their scanners began to beep wildly. Red lights flashed. Their helmets showed warnings. Unknown energy detected. Level beyond safe range. Avoid CONTAC to one guard whispered. His energy. It's impossible. Even Queen Lysera felt something strange. It was like a cold wind passed through the hall. Her golden eyes narrowed. What is this? She whispered to herself. Elias continued walking, slow and calm, his boots echoing on the crystal floor. Nobles watched him as if he was a ghost walking between stars. A Zevran general stepped in his path. "Human, stop." Elias walked past him without a word. As he did, the general's armor flickered, his energy shield broke, and sparks jumped from his chest plate. The general stumbled back, shocked. "What kind of creature is he?" he whispered. The hall filled with fear. The nobles, who had mocked him minutes ago, now stepped back, but Elias did not look at anyone. He did not explain himself. He simply left the hall, pushed open the giant crystal doors, and walked into the long glowing corridor outside. Queen Lysera watched him disappear. Her heart felt something she had never felt before. Certainty. That human broke every rule. That human ignored her. That human made the royal guards step back in fear. And worst of all, she sensed power inside him. Power that no human should have. The hall whispered with fear. Did you feel it? He is not normal. The human who walked away from a throne, the glowing corridor outside the crystal throne. Hall stretched like a long river of blue light. Elias Ward walked down its center, calm as ever, even though thousands of aliens behind him whispered in shock. His footsteps echoed gently, but to the guards who watched from a distance, every step felt heavier than the last. 2 Zevran soldiers whispered nervously, "Why didn't he bow?" "No one defies the Queen, but you saw the scanners. His energy was beyond any level." "So, he is dangerous?" "He might be more than dangerous." They didn't dare get closer. Elias reached the exit Gaeta, giant circular door made of living metal. It opened by detecting life force signatures. But when he stepped near it, the metal pulsed like a heartbeat and opened instantly, almost as if the door was afraid of him outside. The sky of Zevra Prime shone in bright purple and silver colors. Alien ships moved like slow stars across the horizon. Elias walked across the landing platform toward his small Earth shuttle, the Aurora. The Aurora was tiny compared to the Zevron ships. It looked old, scratched, and simple. Many nobles had laughed at it earlier, calling it a metal potato. But Elias touched its side gently, and the ship hummed like a loyal creature. He opened the hatch and stepped inside. The moment the door closed, a soft female voice spoke. "Commander Ward, are you okay?" It was Astra, the ship's AI, calm and warm. "Yes," Elias answered. "No injuries." Astra hesitated. "Your heart rate is low. You are not stressed, but your energy readings, they spiked." Elias sat in the pilot chair. The Queen pushed too hard. Astra dimmed her lights. "Shall the first prepare the engine for departure?" Elias didn't answer right away. Instead, he looked through the window at the massive palace behind him. "She insulted humanity," he said quietly. "She thinks Earth should kneel." Astra responded softly. "Most empires think so." "Not for long," Elias murmured. Back inside the throne hall. Chaos continued. Queen Lysera sat on her throne with her jaw tight and her eyes colder than ice. Her advisors surrounded her, speaking quickly and fearfully. "My queen, we must punish the human. No outsider should defy the crown." "This is an insult to the entire empire," but Queen Lysera raised her hand. Silence fell instantly. "You all saw it," she said, her voice steady. "The human did not bow, but he also did not attack. He simply walked away." "That makes it worse," shouted General Rollick. "He acted as if the crown meant nothing to him." Lysara's eyes narrowed. "And your armor system failed when he passed by you." The general froze. The entire hall went silent. "You felt it too," the Queen said. "His presence broke our sensors. His energy touched your shield. That is no normal human." She walked down the steps of her throne, her cape dragging softly behind her like a river of light. Her golden eyes glowed faintly. "I sensed something when he looked at me. Something very old and very deep." She paused. "He is hiding his true power." The nobles trembled. This queen never admitted fear. Never? General Rollick swallowed. "My queen, what should we do?" Lysera took a long breath. "We must understand who he is, and why Earth sent him." She turned back toward her throne. A deep, rumbling voice echoed from the shadows. "That human is not like the others." Everyone turned. From a dark balcony above, the old warlord stepped forward, the same one who watched Elias leave earlier. His name was Vorgoth, the Ancient, a warrior known for surviving 5 galactic wars. Lysera straightened. "You saw him?" "I saw what he is," Vorgoth said. "That was no simple human. His aura burned like a star. I have felt such power only twice in my life." The hall froze completely. "What kind of power?" the Queen whispered. Vorgoth's red eyes glowed. "The kind that destroys empires." Back inside the Aurora, Astra spoke again. "Elias, incoming message from Earth?" "No," Astra said. "From an unknown Zevron frequency." Elias looked at the screen, and a hologram flickered to life. It showed Queen Lysera's face, calm, proud, unreadable. He raised an eyebrow. She contacted me? Astra confirmed. Direct message to you, Commander. Private channel. Elias folded his arms. Play it. Queen Lysera's voice filled the cockpit. Asterisk human. I wish to speak with you. Alone. You may have walked away today, but I do not accept unanswered questions in my empire. Meet me at the Star Garden in 1 hour. Come unarmed. I will do the same. The message ended. Astra sounded nervous. Elias, this could be a trap. Maybe he said quietly, but you were going? The AI asked. Elias nodded once. Yes. He stood up and looked toward the palace again. She insulted humanity, he said. She thinks we kneel. And you? Astra asked. A slow fire burned in his eyes. I don't kneel, he said. Not even to a queen. Asterisk, he grabbed his coat, stepped out of the ship, and the platform lights glowed beneath his feet. His steps were quiet, but filled with something the Empire had never seen. Confidence of a human who feared nothing. Something sleeps inside him. No human should carry that energy. High above the hall, on a shadowy balcony where only powerful eyes could see, an old alien warlord watched Elias leave. His skin was dark blue, and his eyes glowed red. He smiled a slow, dangerous smile. If that human returns, he whispered, the galaxy will change. Queen Lysera turned back to her throne, her fingers tightening on the armrest. Her pride was wounded, her authority broken. But inside her chest, something stronger than anger began to grow. Curiosity, fear, and something she had never felt toward a human. Whatever Elias Ward truly was. She needed to know, and she needed to know soon. The Queen's secret garden, and the human who was not afraid, Star Garden, was the most protected place in the entire Zevran Empire. Not even generals were allowed without permission. It floated above the palace like a small island made of glowing crystal roots and floating blue flowers. The air shimmered with soft silver dust, and every plant inside carried ancient cosmic energy. Elias arrived at the entrance exactly 1 hour later. 2 elite Zevran guards blocked the path. Their armor shined with white energy, and their spears hummed like lightning. One guard stepped forward. State your purpose. Queen Lysera called me, Elias said calmly. The guards scanned him but again. Their scanners flickered and shut down. Error messages flashed across their visors. His reading's impossible. Do we let him through? Before they could decide, the large gate behind them opened on its own. Queen Lysera stood inside. She wore no crown today, no armor, no royal cape, just a simple, dark purple gown that glowed faintly under the cosmic flowers. Her silver hair floated slightly, moved by the Star Garden's gentle gravity waves. You may enter, human, she said softly. Elias stepped inside. The doors closed silently behind him. Even with no threat, he did not relax. His eyes studied everything, the shining trees, the strange insects made of light, the floating waterfalls that never touched the ground. You came alone, Lysera said. You asked, Elias replied. You trust me that much? No, he said, but I do not fear you. Her golden eyes narrowed. No one had ever said such words to her. She led him through a path of floating stones. Around them cosmic flowers, opened slowly, glowing pink, blue, and white, almost like stars blooming. For the first time, the queen spoke without pride. Why didn't you kneel? Elias didn't stop walking. Humans don't kneel to anyone. That is arrogance, that is freedom. Lysera turned to face him fully. You insulted the crown. You insulted Earth, he replied quietly. We are equal, not above, not below. Her breath caught for a moment. His words were too bold, too honest. No species speaks to me like this. That is the problem, Elias said. Everyone fears you. That is not respect. Lysera's eyes softened for a second. And you? Do you respect me? Elias looked straight into her eyes. I don't know you yet. Her heart skipped. No one had ever spoken to her as if she was simply a person. Not a queen, not a ruler, not a power. Just Lys era, They reached the center of the star garden. A large, ancient tree stood, their rich branches made of silver light, its roots forming glowing patterns across the floor. This was the Celestine tree, older than the empire itself. She placed her hand gently on the trunk. "This tree reads energy," she said. "It sees truth. It sees power." "And you brought me here because?" Elias asked. "To understand what you are." Elias did not move. "You think I'm hiding something?" he said. "I know you are," Lysera replied. "No human carries that kind of energy. Your presence made my guards step back. The scanners malfunctioned. General Rallick's armor almost collapsed. And," she paused, "I felt something from you." Something deep. Elias looked at the glowing branches above them. The leaves sparkled like galaxies. "You shouldn't have brought me here," he said quietly. Lysera raised a brow. "Are you dangerous, Elias?" He gave the smallest smile. "To those who threaten my world, and I am not threatening it." Yet her eyes narrowed. "You speak boldly?" "I speak truth." Lysera stepped closer. "Then let the tree decide." She nodded toward the Celestine tree. "Touch it." Elias did not move. "Why hesitate?" she asked. "Afraid?" "I am not afraid." His voice was calm, but his eyes were serious. "I'm protecting you." Lysera froze. "Protecting me? From what?" "From what you might see." Her heart thumped hard in her chest. "What will I see?" Elias breathed slowly. "Everything." Lysera stepped even closer, her voice sharp. "I am queen of an empire. I do not fear truth." Elias held her gaze. She placed her hand lightly on his. "Show me," she whispered. For a moment, everything was silent. Then Elias touched the Celestine tree, and the star garden exploded with light. A massive shockwave pulsed through the garden. The flowers closed instantly. The floating stones cracked. The waterfalls froze in midair. Silver dust lifted like a storm. Lysera stumbled back in shock. The Celestine tree, the oldest, strongest energy source in the empire, was glowing brighter and brighter, turning white-hot. Lines of ancient symbols lit up along its trunk. The air vibrated. Then the tree spoke, not with words. With pure energy, a deep voice echoed in Lysera's mind. "Chosen being, awakened star, human, not human, power beyond ages." Lysera fell to her knees, overwhelmed. Her eyes widened in fear and awe. "What are you?" she whispered. Elias stood calmly, his hand still touching the tree, his eyes glowing faintly with silver light. "I told you," he said quietly. "You shouldn't have brought me here." The Celestine tree pulsed again, louder this time, sending a second shockwave through the palace. Outside the garden, guards panicked. Scanners broke. Lights turned red. Alarm sirens echoed. Unknown cosmic force detected. Energy level rising, source. The star garden. Protect the queen. Autos of soldiers rushed forward, but the garden's doors refused to open. The energy inside was too strong. Inside, Lysera could barely breathe. The Celestine tree whispered one final message into her mind. This human can end empires, or save them. The power that should not exist in a human, the star garden still shook with white energy. The Celestine tree's branches glowed like burning stars. The air around Elias shimmered as if the universe itself was bending. Queen Lysera struggled to stand. Her royal training, her pride, her strength all felt small in front of this force. She had grown up believing Zevrans were the strongest species in the sector. But now, standing in front of one calm human, everything she knew felt wrong. Elias removed his hand from the Celestine tree. Instantly, the overwhelming light dimmed. The tree's glow softened like a dying sunrise. The pressure in the air faded, and Lysera could breathe again. Her eyes locked onto him. "You awakened the tree," she said, her voice shaking. "No one has ever done that. Not kings.
Not prophets.
Not the ancient warriors." Elias looked at the tree with quiet sadness. "I didn't awaken it," he said softly. "It recognized me." Lysera's heart thumped hard. "Recognized you? As what?" Elias didn't answer. She stepped closer, her fear turning into urgent curiosity. Tell me what you are. He finally looked at Hercom, steady, almost gentle. I am human, he said, but not the kind you think. Lysera shook her head. No, humans are normal. Weak compared to our species. They cannot do this. Elias inhaled deeply. Humans were normal once. Before the fall, Lysera repeated. Our forgotten age, Elias said. A time erased from our history. A time when humans were more than explorers. We were guardians. Lysera blinked, confused. Guardians of what? Of the cosmic balance, Elias said. Of life and death across entire sectors? Before we destroyed ourselves. She stared at him. This was impossible. This was insane. This was terrifying. You expect me to believe humans once had this kind of power? You saw the tree, Elias replied softly. It shows only truth. Lysera swallowed hard. She had no argument left. Suddenly, a loud boom shook the Star Garden. The doors blasted open as dozens of elite warriors stormed inside. Their armor glowed with golden energy, and their spears were charged to full capacity. Protect the queen. Seize the human.
Movin'.
Lysera raised her hand sharply. Stop. Her guards froze, but kept their weapons pointed at Elias. General Rollick stepped forward, panting from running.
Your Majesty, we detected an energy spike. We thought you were in danger.
I'm not harmed, Lysera said firmly. Rollick pointed at Elias. That creature caused the spike. You must be restrained. Before Lysera could speak, Elias' eyes changed just slightly. Not glowing, not bright, but sharp, cold, a silent warning. Rollick's armor cracked again. His shield flickered. The spear in his hand bent slowly as if crushed by invisible fingers. He stumbled back, terrified. Lysera raised both hands. Do not engage him. But Rollick began. That is an order, Lysera commanded, her voice a blade. The guards slowly lowered their spears. Though fear scratched at their throats, Elias stepped back, away from her guards. I didn't come to fight. Lysera nodded. I know. Rollick stared at his queen in confusion. My queen? Why protect him? He insulted you in the throne hall. He defied the crown. Lysera turned slowly to him. Because he is telling the truth, she said. Because the Celestine tree itself bowed to him. The hall gasped. Rollick's eyes widened. Impossible. The tree does not bow. It does not break tradition. It did today, Lysera said. Rollick looked at Elias again, this time with fear. If this human is truly that powerful, he threatens us all. Elias shook his head calmly. I threaten no one unless they threaten Earth. The queen's eyes flickered with something strange respect. The ground trembled suddenly. A loud alarm echoed through the palace. Astra's voice buzzed through a communicator on Elias' wrist. Commander, unknown ships entering Zevran orbit. Lysera turned sharply. Ships? Whose ships? Astra responded. Not Zevran. It's not human. Class unidentified. Energy signature. Hostile. Leah's jaw tightened. Lysera stepped closer. You knew this was coming? No, Elias said. But someone has been watching me since the throne hall. The queen froze. Her golden eyes widened with fear. Who? Before Elias could answer, a massive shockwave hit the entire palace. The sky outside turned dark. Flashes of orange and red fire lit the horizon. A messenger rushed in. My queen. A fleet of unknown warships is attacking Zevran space. The hall erupted into chaos. How many ships? Lysera demanded. They just arrived through a wormhole. 20. No. 30 ships. Another officer ran in, panicked. General. Their weapons are unlike anything we've seen. Lysera glared at Elias. Are they after you? Elias didn't answer. He didn't need to. His silence was enough. Lysera stepped closer until her face was inches from his. Human. If a fleet comes for you, her eyes softened, not with fear but responsibility. Then they come for my empire too. Elias nodded once. Then I will protect your world, he said, just as humans once protected the galaxy. Lysera felt a shiver, not of fear, of trust she didn't understand. General Rollick, she commanded. Prepare the fleet, Rallick saluted sharply. And bring a ship for the human, Lysera added. He fights with us. Rallick hesitated. Fight with us. But Lysera didn't let him finish. He is our only chance. Leah stepped forward, his expression calm but ready. Tell me where your command ship is, he said. Lysera met his eyes, fire burning in hers. The Zenith Crown, she said. My flagship. Elias nodded. Then let's go, he said. The real war is starting. When the humans stood against a fleet, the sky above Zevra Prime turned black as smoke and fire spread across the upper atmosphere. 30 unknown warships formed a dark circle around the planet. Their hulls were jagged, almost alive, glowing with red energy patterns that pulsed like beating hearts. Inside the palace command center, Queen Lysera and Elias walked side by side toward the strategy table. Dozens of commanders bowed quickly, some out of respect, others out of fear. General Rallick pointed to the hologram. These ships appeared from a controlled wormhole. Their technology is beyond anything we know. They are not from this galaxy, Elias said quietly. Lysera looked at him sharply. You recognize them? Elias's expression didn't change. Not them. Their energy. It's from the old age. The age humans forgot. But others did not. The room fell silent. A voice from the communicator shouted urgently, Enemy ships charging main weapons. Lysera stood tall. All Zevran ships, launch. Thousands of alien fighters shot into the sky. Their engines burned bright blue as they formed protective lines around the capital. Elias watched the hologram quietly, analyzing every movement. Lysera noticed. You're too calm. I've seen worse, he said. Then help me stop this, she replied. Elias nodded once. I will. Minutes later, they arrived at the docking bay. The Queen's flagship, the Zenith Crown, waited like a giant silver blade ready to cut the sky. Its wings glowed with gold energy. The ship's core pulsed with royal power. As they boarded, the crew stared at Elias, some with fear, some with curiosity, some with disbelief that a human was walking onto the Queen's flagship. The control deck opened with a hum. Commander Ward, Lysera said, taking her seat, stand beside me. You understand this enemy better than anyone here. Elias stood next to her calmly. Your fleet must not attack first, he said. Rallick frowned. And why not? Because those ships are feeding, Elias explained. They absorb the energy of other weapons. If you fire, you only make them stronger. Lysera stared at him. How do you know this? Elias raised his wrist. A strange mark glowed faintly, a silver pattern like a star broken into fragments. This is not a tattoo, he said softly. It is a seal. It's placed on those who survived the ancient war. Lysera leaned closer, whispering, You survived a war erased from your history? Elias nodded. Humans paid the price of their own power. And we swore never to use it again. Lysera gazed at the mark, pulsed like a heartbeat. What are you capable of, Elias? She asked quietly. He didn't answer. Because outside, first enemy attack began. A massive red beam fired from the largest warship. It sliced through the atmosphere, tearing clouds apart. Zevran fighters dodged desperately, but some were hit instantly, vanishing in red light. On the Zenith Crown, the crew panicked. Shields at 60%. Our weapons aren't scratching. Them, Queen Lysera, we need orders. Lysera looked at Elias. What do we do? Elias stepped forward. Open the front hangar, he said. Rallick almost choked. What? You'll be killed. We're in space. Elias ignored him and walked toward the inner airlock. Lysera stood up. Elias, you walk into open space, you die. Not today, he said calmly. Why? She whispered. Why help us? He turned to her, his expression softer than she expected. Because you treated me like more than a weapon, he said. And because Earth is not ready for this enemy. But you might become an ally. Lysera took a slow breath, then returned alive. Elias gave a small nod. For your sake, he said. For the first time, she didn't hide the emotion in her eyes. The hangar doors opened. A rush of air blasted out. Beyond it, space stretched endlessly, stars, fire, and enemy ships glowing red like angry beasts. Elias stepped onto the platform. His body glowed faintly. The seal on his wrist spread, across his arm like silver fire. Queen Lysera watched from the bridge, her voice caught in her throat. "What is he doing?" the soldier whispered. Elias stepped off the hangar floor and did not fall. He floated like gravity meant nothing. The air around him cracked with bright white lines. Lysera grabbed the railing, stunned. "He's flying." "Rollick," whispered voice trembling. "That's not human." Elias raised his hand. The nearest enemy ship fired at him. The beam of red light hit and vanished. The crew gasped. He absorbed it. No, he erased it. Got what kind of power? Elias' eyes glowed silver. He lifted both hands slowly. The space around him twisted like a storm. The 30 warships shook violently. One cracked in half. Another folded like paper. Third exploded silently, sucked into itself. On the bridge, Lysera covered her mouth in shock. "He's destroying a fleet with his mind." Rollick collapsed into his chair, whispering, "This is a cosmic being."
Not cosmic?
Human. Soon, only one enemy ship remained. It turned, trying to escape. Elias didn't chase it, simply spoke, "Leave this sector." No. His voice echoed through space, filling the enemy ship's entire communication network. The ship hesitated, terrified, and vanished into a wormhole. The battle was over. Elias floated gently back toward the flagship. His glowing faded slowly. By the time he stepped inside the hangar, he looked almost normal again, except for the faint silver pattern still glowing on his skin. Queen Lysera ran to him, ignoring her guards. "You survived," she whispered. "I said I would." "What? Are you?" she asked, still breathless. Elias looked at her with calm, his tired eyes. "A reminder," he said softly. That humans are not what the galaxy thinks." Lysera stepped even closer. "Then stay," she said quietly. "Help me protect this galaxy. Help me rebuild the truth." Elias looked at her for a long moment. "I will stay," he said. "But not as a servant, not as a warrior." She nodded. "Then, as what?" "As an equal," he replied. Lysera smiled, and for the first time in her life, the queen bowed her head ever so slightly. "Then welcome, Elias Ward," she said softly, "protector of the crown and the galaxy." Would never forget the day a single human changed everything. If you want a bonus epilogue or a new HFY story with a new title, just tell me.